Welcome back, folks. It's another episode of It's About Payroll. We are up to episode 213. What is good, Walt? How you doing, sir?
213. Which area code is
213.
that?
I don't know that one. I only know 718. Now I know 954.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But yeah, I'm good, man. How about you?
Doing great, bro. Yes, sir. Dang, I didn't get any other particular news story, but I definitely have. Like, I don't have any in the news type of thing, but I have a story to share about payroll for sure, like a real life good story. You too? Oh, please go first, sir.
No, go ahead. I want you to go
Roger
ahead.
that. You still in? Okay. So I'm not going to name any names. I want to call any companies out. But a friend of mine in NYC was telling me, he's like, man, I was about to go up to my supervisor and say, I'm leaving because I'm stressed out about this payroll error that y'all told me about. But something hit him and he called and he's like, yo, I got a problem. I got overpaid. And I was like, what? Okay. So what's up? And he's like, yeah, they want to take it back. They want to take it all back in the next paycheck. And he gets paid weekly. And I was like, all right. So did you sign anything? And he said, nah, they just said that next paycheck, they're going to take it all back. And I was like, no. Like, I was like, in New York State, it requires written approval by the employee to take an overpayment back. And beyond that, there are a bunch of other restrictions on how notification period, how much they take back, how much they reduce your check because of the payback,
Minimum wage.
the minimum, right. And I was like, there's a bunch of things here, bro. If you want me to help you like set something up, I can, send you an email later. And I was like, gotta do something. I'll give him advice. He's like, all right, cool. Kind of didn't take my advice 100%, but because he's, very passionate dude, New Yorker.
Yeah.
And he went straight back to his supervisor and was like, hey, so I don't think you can do that. I actually want, I think I have to sign something according to New York State law. And also I can't afford for you to take it all back in one check. I can do X amount over a few checks, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of like the supervisor kind of like smiled and was like, all right, yeah, no problem. I understand. And complied with his request. And right. So it's like, and we BS'd about it for a little while. And he's like, yeah, I forgot what he said. Like companies don't want to do that or don't have time or whatever. I was like, no, honestly, a lot of companies just don't know the rules and the employees don't know either. And if the companies do know the rules, they get playing games because they want the employee, they force the employees to say something before they do something. And I was just like, how many other employees, millions of employees out there, like, going through issues, right? So
yeah, it's like, think about it. If you think about it in terms of like getting a car, right? You need a car. Most people need a car to get from point A to point B, whether it's work, just in life or whatever. Unless you live in New York, you can take the local transit systems and stuff like that. But still, right? You need to be able to have transportation, right? But those car salesmen, a lot of times they're not taking you through all the fine
heck nah.
and stuff like that. The small
Heck
print,
nah.
and and letting you know what this means, what that means. They're just saying, oh, this will give you an overview, like a broad stroke overview of what it means. Oh, you sign this part,
Just
you
keep signing
here.
Yep.
Yeah, just keep signing. And
Yep.
I know the sticker price said that it's like 30,000, but after interest it's going to be 60,000.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Like, so it's all good. This is normal and stuff like that or whatever, right? So it's kind of that same thing, the same spiel that some employees get from their employers, right? They just like kind of just push them through and have them signing something without having full understanding of what is truly going on.
Yep.
Right. And then because once you sign that, you're kind of like putting it in cement, right? And so remember that situation where we worked at together, right? And we had people that, there was an update to the employee handbook
Mhm.
about regarding, right?
Yeah.
And there was pushback because the companies said they stopped doing PTO payouts.
Yeah.
And there were people just that were like, I didn't see that updated handbook. I didn't sign it, or whatever. I didn't see it. And so because of that, the company had to say, like, well, on that front, it was a company who was kind of left hanging out to dry because they didn't do the due diligence and get the employees to sign it
Yep.
or force that compliance, right? So my story is a little bit different. It's about taxes, something I'm going
Okay.
through right now, a tax cleanup project
Okay.
at my current company. And um it's a funny story, right? Because as you know, Brian, and some of the listeners know, I was a veteran.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your
And
service.
yeah, appreciate it, man. And so you go on ID Me to verify your
Yes.
information, right?
Government
But
setup.
now,
Yep.
yeah, but now some states are using ID Me
Correct.
for taxes and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of the tax cleanup, we were at, like, I think, two different states, and we are trying to put my name in for like a contact stuff, and it pulled up my military record, and it
Okay.
tried to merge the two together
Okay.
for the company profile and my profile. And we're like, no, those two don't go together. We got to keep it separate. So I found that interesting, and I want to see how other people may navigate that, because I know they don't want. I wouldn't personally want my military record associated with my company tax profile either, because it's gonna always be there. You know what I'm saying? So I
Interesting.
just think you got to do your due diligence, ask the right questions. Who needs to be the point of contact if you're in a similar situation like that, or someone you know is in a similar situation like that, because you may have to use a generic name or email address. Like if there's a team email address that you have, you might have
Right.
to put that in instead of your information. So I wanted to share that because I
Very
personally
interesting.
experienced that.
Was there a workaround? Did you guys find a workaround?
Yeah,
Oh,
generic name, and we put our team
like,
email address as
right.
the email address, and
Right.
that way it goes to the general payroll team email,
Oh,
and so that's pretty
there
pretty
you
much what
go.
we had to
That's
do.
that's
Yeah.
really good advice because I'm sure there. Honestly, bro, I wouldn't have thought anything of it and just attach my personal thing to it. Like
Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't
want
think of a
that.
work.
Yeah.
No, no, no. That's
Yeah.
good. I didn't think like, oh, wait a minute. No, there should be a workaround, for this. That makes a lot of sense.
Now, look, I do want to say that worked out in those states. There are other states that we've been on the phone with, and they require an actual name.
So
You
there
can't
are
just
some
put,
states that they want
oh,
the person.
yeah, that one
Oh,
person. So
wow.
that's so this is, if you run into that and these other states adopt ID Me as their preferred,
Oh, they
verification
will.
system,
Yep.
then you may have to find a different workaround or make somebody else the point of contact.
Oh, wow. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
No, you good, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
man.
Well, let's
Yeah.
get into it, man. We're gonna let's see.
What are we talking about,
Let's
man?
see. We're talking about wellness today when real life and work life intersect.
Mm.
We often hear people talk about work life balance as if work and life exist independently, right? And I mean, we talk about this all the time, right? Like this is, and so I'm excited to talk about this because I'm like, wait a minute. So many examples, so many bad stories. I don't know if I have any good stories, meeting with leadership and how they handle things, you
Mm.
know, and they may exist different. Like, obviously, your personal life is one thing, just like you just perfect segue, right? Personal life is one thing, work life is another, but
Mm.
can you actually always separate it in other subjects? So let me pose a question for you, right? Is
Mm.
leave your problems at the door realistic, or is that an outdated way of thinking about employees?
I think that's an outdated way of thinking about employees, right? Like I think that people have to realize that life is a lot different now. And, I think that
In what way do you mean?
unfortunately, I
Different
think,
from
you
what?
know, the different pressures that we face. I know like things change over time, and then they say like, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same and stuff
Mhm.
like that. There's always going to be pressures, right? I think, you know, when we set up like rules and laws in the first place, you know, older generations had, you know, different things in mind versus, you know, things that occur that they weren't ready for, right? And different things happened, and you know, and it changes your frame of thought, right? So when I say that, it's just like, okay, like when it comes to how we work, that changed, right? So we were all in office at one point. Now we're some in office, some are hybrid, some are
Yep.
fully remote,
Yep.
some are, you know,
It's a mix.
traveling
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time, you
Yeah.
know, whatever it may be. Like the workforce landscape has changed, right?
Yes.
What hasn't changed is that we have to work. That still hasn't changed yet.
Fair.
But
No doubt.
AI may be changing that pretty soon. Robots may be changing that the
Still
landscape
gotta
of the
work.
workforce pretty soon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that there was a lot to say. People just wanted companies just wanted people to come to work. Don't let your life interfere with what you have to do, you know, and don't bring your issues to work. Don't bring any drama or anything like that to the job that's going to impact productivity, right? You know, and
You
I
said
understand
something
that,
good
right?
there. Yeah.
Productivity, because I
Mhm.
understand that that's the case, right? Even today, like I wouldn't want an employee if you know if I had a business and stuff, I wouldn't want an employee work coming to the job and starting some drama at work because of the personal stuff, right? So I guess in a way, like, so now I have to change my answer. I guess it is kind of realistic in a sense,
Well, I think you're
right?
saying two different things, right? So
Yeah,
bringing drama is different,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
if you bring in drama to work and you that person that's gonna just create a situation because you're in a bad mood or you're having a bad day or you just, love
Yeah,
the
yeah,
drama,
yeah.
right? We all know those people like that. There's no place for that. That's different. But more so like family things, personal issues, real life type of situations, but look, we'll get more into it there. Help us out with some information that I believe you have for us.
So look, this next section is really about like realizing that people who clock in are still, you know, they're still a person, right? So I have a stat here from Gallup, State of the Global Workplace. So it says that 50% of US employees experience significant stress during the previous day. Globally, that number was about
Oh,
40%.
wow.
So managers actually reported higher daily stress than individual
Absolutely.
contributors, 45% versus 39%.
Not too
So
much
let me
higher,
ask you a
but
question.
yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you a question then. Like, can people realistically separate their personal lives from their professional lives? And I have a couple of situations for you, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, what if you have relational, marital
Yeah.
problems,
Yeah.
sick kids,
That's, yep.
you know, sick partner,
Yep.
aging parents, loved
Yes.
ones,
Yes.
financial issues,
Yes.
grief, fertility struggles, lack of
Yes.
sleep, health
Yes.
concerns, you know, or just you just had a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like,
all those
go
things
ahead.
are real.
Mm.
Yeah.
So like how do you navigate those then, bro? Like how do we how do companies need to do a better job of giving people its employees grace? Or do you think there's a fine line balancing that companies, because I don't understand companies, in order for a company to stay in business, things have to get done.
Yeah. Work's got to get
But
done.
but do you think that companies need to take care of their people more?
I think it's relative to the company. I think some companies are good at it, right? And it's the people, it's the culture, it's the top down mentality for sure. Like that culture gets set at the top and works its way down. So better or worse is relative to the company. But I think I kind of agree with what you said in the beginning. It's not realistic to say, leave that at the door. And here's my first real life story. I had something incredibly traumatic happened in my life years ago. Oh gosh, probably about 15. Oh, how long I've been here now? Getting in Florida 10, a few years before that. So yeah, about 13, 14 years ago. And it was like I couldn't even think straight at work. And my boss noticed, and he's like, oh, he gave me the old, oh, you can trust me. I'll understand. When I told him, he's like, well, you got to leave things at the door.
Wow.
I was like, what? Like, what?
Wow.
So that was a lesson learned for me, right? Like, you cannot, I just read a post on Facebook the other day that was like, coworkers aren't your friends. Bottom line. Don't imagine it to be so. Don't kid yourself. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen over time, but when you approach it that way, when you're like out the gate trying to be friendly, that's not the right attitude, So yeah, that's, it's yeah.
Bro, it's like you always say, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so like if you approach, even in a romantic relationship, if you're just like for the most part, it may turn off most people if you're just, just really forward out the gate and doing too much at the gate. And then it may push those people away, or, you may just give them too much information and make them privy to stuff that, like what do we say? Like data is the new oil.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so when you give people information about you, they can use that against you. Right? And hold that against you. Right. And so you answered a couple of questions I had for you, right? Like about like, have you ever showed up to work physically, but mentally weren't there? You answered that. Yes. And like, and you answered, should an employee tell their manager when there's something personal affecting them, or keep it private? That depends, but in your experience, you said,
you can say that there's something personal going on, but you don't have to provide the details, right?
Yes.
That's what you got to be strict about. Like, yes, that I am being challenged personally, and I apologize. I'll need some grace.
And yes, and you have to be. This is where I say we as workers have to have discernment, right? You have to be able to be watchful and watch a person's actions. And to determine how the character is, right? So if you and learn that for yourself, because there may be people who may be bad mouthing somebody, but they could just be doing that because they don't like them or whatever. You have to find out for yourself, right? And see if that is true before you like give information. If you know somebody is a gossiper at work,
goodness,
and they had that rumor about them, then you might want to be careful before telling them about your personal life and what's going on. And the next thing you know, because the rumor mill is a real thing at the job. Absolutely. And then next thing you know, you told the person this in confidence, and now everybody in the office is like coming up to you like, oh my God, I heard, are you okay? And that may not be what you want it to be done, right? So as a manager, if you notice that your employees' performance, they're a high performing employee, then all of a sudden you notice that their energy is low, the performance is they start making a bunch of mistakes in payroll that they normally wouldn't make. Would you question their performance first or ask what's going on?
It would be all work for me, performance. I wouldn't be like, if I could tell, just like you said, right? If you kind of getting to know, so, of course it would all depend on how, like, are they 30 days in or 2 years in? You know what I mean? How much do you understand this person's pattern already? Are they a high performer? Do you know where they are on that scale already? But regardless of that, I'm immediately going, I'm keeping it work. I'm going, but I'm not going to be like, hey, if you're messing up, you're going to get fired. I'm just be like, hey, I noticed your performance is off. Is there anything that I can help with? Right.
Yeah, and I definitely understand. I definitely understand.
I don't want to know your personal stuff. I don't want to know, and
that's a good approach to.
That's really it. If they start getting personal, then I'm going to try to stop them. Like, hey, you don't have to share. if you're having personal issues, totally understand. What do you need? How can I help? Like, what do you know? If they have PTO, I might be like, hey, why don't you take a couple of days off?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Yes. Yeah. For me, I think you hit the nail on the head. You said, how long have they been there? What's your rapport with the person? Are y'all a close knit team, or is it just like, hey, we work together, we're cordial, or whatever, and it is what it is. It depends on the situation, right? But for me, I normally try to lean to the people side of it, and and see if anything's going on. But then I also look at patterns too, right? Because I've had to learn the hard way, because I am more heart centric, and on the people side, and then people may try to take that advantage of that, right? And say, oh yeah,
they're
my
always gonna have
dog,
a sob story for you.
my grandma,
Yep.
my toe, you know, I had to flush my goldfish down the drain,
Yep.
so I can't come to work,
Yep.
whatever. And so, like, different things. So you have to be, you still have to use that discernment. I think that's a key understanding to have when it comes to these type of work life situations. So I'm gonna flip the conversation really quick then. How does work often follow us home? What do you think?
Also, that's the same deal. It happens, right? You have a bad day at work. You're
Yeah,
getting, if you, yeah, it happens.
bro.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
yeah,
We both have been through rifts, reduction
yep,
in forces.
yep,
We've been through bad payroll days,
yes.
long
Long
hours, the system
hours.
crashed.
Yep,
We had to work, bad meeting,
yep.
like
Horrible
anxiety,
bosses.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
we both have checked emails over the weekend and
Mhm.
get that
While
that
we're
weekend anxiety.
recording and be like, I'm
Yes.
like, dude, we made a rule. We literally had to make a rule. Do not look at your work email while we're recording.
Oh,
Like,
because we there'd be times, when Brian and I would be like, man, oh damn it,
yep.
like
And you'd be like,
while
whoa, what
we're
happened?
recording, what happened? We're
Yeah.
like, I just saw this work email, whatever. Just like, okay, like, man,
Yep.
just take a break,
Yep.
take a breath, and stuff.
Yep.
So, like, here's a big question before I pass it to you:
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
which is more damaging in your mind, bringing home problems to work or bringing work problems home?
I'm going to say bringing work problems home. Like, I always think about that post out there that says, you know, you're replaceable at work. There's 100 people online waiting for your job. At home, you are irreplaceable.
Yep. Bro, someone told me, I think it was my lady, like, she told me a story like that, you know, she's been helping me, like, because we've been going through some rough patches at work and stuff. And so she said, you know what, just go to work, do what they ask, and don't complain, don't murmur. Like, I know it frustrates you,
Yep.
but, like, like, just say yes. And just do what they say. She said, because at the end of the day, you're giving them all this energy, you're allowing it to impact you and affect you,
Yes.
and you're bringing it here,
Yes.
and you're all your energy's off and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And at the end of the day, she told me a story that a friend of a friend, they passed away at work.
Oh, wow.
Sent her family a card, and the next day they were like, oh, well, we're starting to hire somebody because we
Yeah.
need some to fill
Yeah.
somebody in this, and it's
Yes.
just the nature of business. Unfortunately,
Yes.
they need butts and seats in order for to function properly,
That's the bit.
right?
That's,
So
yeah.
your family, will have a harder time replacing you
Oh, yeah.
than a
If
job.
at
You know
all.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you,
Hmm.
man. It's more difficult bringing work problems home.
Yep. Yep. My wife put me on to something that I didn't realize. We were talking about something about work, and she was like, "Oh, I used to tell my team that this is not a family." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You told them that, like, for real?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, I was like, "But you're such a good boss. They loved you." This is like, "Yeah, but I still told them this is not a family. This is work." But she's like, "That doesn't mean we can't show up for each other. That we don't do nice things for each other. But
Hmm.
don't have in your mind that this is a family. It's not. This is work."
Yeah.
And that spoke volumes. You know what I mean? Because folks get it. too mixed up. And when that happens, you know, you don't know who's in when they're in HR and they're talking about their work performance, what things that, who they're going to throw under the bus for things that they know personally. You know what I mean? And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. So that's a big thing, right? It's like protect your peace at work, protect yourself at work. Yeah. So anywho, let's see. Who do you think is responsible for wellness, your wellness at work, right? How responsible should an employer actually be for an employee's wellness? On a scale of 1 to 100, what do you think?
I think if I had to put it, I think the employer, I think it's more so on the employee. So I say 80, I would say like 80% is on the employee and 20% is on the employer. And I'll tell you why, because like
I was
we
surprised.
we have to be able to manage our stress because no matter where we work, we're gonna have like different levels of stress. No matter, even at the perfect job, our dream job is gonna come with some stress, right? And so I think
Oh yeah.
we have to be able to be good conductors of of managing that and knowing when to things go and when to choose and pick our battles and when to leave things where they are and knowing when to clock out, right? And I think the 20% of the employers is, I think it may not seem like a lot, but I think that 20% could make up a vast majority of things at work that can make work environment, right? Making sure that even though the work may be hard, that the people that are around your team are solid people. They're not assholes. They're not rude. They're not causing drama or bringing drama to work, right?
Yeah.
That's that 20% that matters. They're making sure that your people are paid correctly, that their benefits that are good, that everything that you can do to it's that employee service, right? The employee satisfaction,
Yes.
right? That's what that 20% is.
And in that same vein, so are you saying that the manager should be responsible for recognizing burnout, preventing excessive loads? And at what point do they make it their business to look at the employee's wellness?
I think that might be part of it, right? You have to ask because a part of managing of employees is not just making sure that they do the work, is that they have the capacity mentally that they're okay, especially if you start noticing a dip or slip in their stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when you ask like, hey, are you okay?
Yes.
Do you need me to do anything?
Yep.
Do you need assistance? Like, how are you feeling? And then or whatever. And then if you, depending on your relationship, your work relationship, if you have that closeness and they share those things with you, then all well and good. But if not, they say, hey, I'm just going through some things. A lot of things are going on, and just just mentally just stressed out. And then, like you were saying earlier, then you can offer solutions like, well, hey, like, if you need me to help jump in the weeds with you, I'll
Yep.
do that. Whatever, because we're both hands-on managers and we'll jump in there with our people and help out, and so I think that's what managers should do, because it's not just making sure that they do their job. You should have already made sure they can do their job when you hired them.
Man, let me
So you
flip
got
the
to make
script
sure that
on
they're
you. Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought? You good? Okay.
Yeah.
Can an employee blame the job for burnout because the job hasn't set boundaries?
Oh, so the job has set boundaries, or the boundaries? Okay.
Or boundaries are
So,
blurred, period, right? Right? So
oh,
who sets those
um,
boundaries? Like, can the employee play victim? Oh man, I'm burnt out, and like where like how does that get approached?
no, I think that's where you have to look at, again, this is where you have to use that discernment that I mentioned, right? And look at their work, right? Your work is going to speak for itself, right? So even if
Fair.
you're stressed, your work, it shouldn't dip too much, or whatever, but your energy may be a little low. You may be in a meeting, you may be quiet. You may not be, someone who may not be as outspoken, maybe be more withdrawn. Like those different type of patterns, right? Like you got to look at body language and all those different things, right? So to answer your question, I don't think they necessarily could blame that because of poor boundaries. Could poor boundaries have impact? Sure,
Right.
but I don't think that the employee could just like say, "Oh, it's because these poor boundaries are in place that I have to blame it on." Now, if you have a crappy
Gotcha.
boss, a terrible boss
That's
who's
different.
terrible,
Yeah.
then that's different.
That's different. All right, let me give you some stats before I hand it back to you. A U.S.
Yeah.
Surgeon General's workplace well-being framework specifically identifies work-life harmony as one of 5 essentials for workplace mental health and well-being. All right. The framework recommends this things such as predictable, flexible schedules, yep, access to paid leave, and respecting boundaries between work and non-work time.
Yes.
It also identifies mattering at work. Employees feel respected, valued, and that their work has meaning as another essential. I like that. Yeah, I think all those things are true.
Especially in payroll, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of us got into this like not just to have a career, but it's because we genuinely have a care, some level of care or concern for people and making sure
Yes.
that people's
Yes.
pay is correct,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
There's been people that you and I have worked with, together or individually during our careers that we necessarily didn't like them as people, but we still wanted to make sure that their pay was correct.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Right.
I almost
So
don't even connect the two, right? Like now that you say that, it's so crazy that you said, because now in my brain, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, that's right. I have never even thought of like, oh, I'm gonna mess this person's check up because they annoy the hell out. You know what I mean? And for the most of my career, I've been responsible for paying my bosses, right? Like making sure like I could easily leave it off and, oh man, sorry, we got to run an off cycle for you, you know. But that and like those things, but like it's like we always say, like as a payroll person, your reputation, your character has to be beyond reproach. Like it can be no question about your integrity. Yeah, but that was interesting. Let's see, if we have time, we'll circle back to this other interesting question here. So what you got for us next?
Man, I'm talking about money as a wellness issue. So
that should have been number one.
MetLife's 2026 employee benefit trends research found that 83% of employees said rising living expenses and medical costs were among their top stressors. Yep, everybody's been feeling it, man.
Heck yeah.
Almost 80% cited economic uncertainty as a major concern.
Yep.
Only 44% reported feeling holistically healthy, which MetLife defines across physical, mental, financial, and social health.
Okay.
So let me ask you this question. Can someone truly feel well when they're constantly worried about money?
Yeah, I think the question is posed like written so that it can kind of conflict, right? Because you can be well and have money problems and still maintain wellness. But if you're constantly worried about money, no, that in it of itself is saying you're not well because you're worried about money, right? So I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think a person can be well if they're constantly worried about money. And that goes for both ways, because there are people who have money and still worry about getting more. Right?
Yeah. Like think about the things that we see in payroll, right? We see garnishment, child support come through, tax levies, emergency check requests.
Oh yeah.
Direct deposit issues.
Advance requests, right? Oh, can I get an advance?
Yeah. Employees asking like, oh, last payroll, I got my money on Wednesday.
Oh my God. Don't start. Don't start. Don't get me started. Yes, payday's Friday, yo. Or payday's whatever your payday is.
Or, because now I'm seeing more people use on-demand funds, right?
Wage
And now
access. Yeah.
when their checks come, they're like, you know, why can't my check is so low, and we have to explain to them because you use on demand wages, you use earned wage access,
Hmm.
and that's why your check is so low now. You just can't draw from the future and then and then still get paid the same amount. That's not how it works.
Yes. Oh gosh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
get it.
let's get to your section, section
Absolutely.
5.
So when work starts hurting real life, I mean, yeah, it happens, right? Here's a quick stat. Payroll org said in 2025, Work in America survey found 54% of US workers said job insecurity significantly affected their stress at work. No doubt. Among workers
Yeah.
concerned that an economic downturn could threaten their job, absolutely. Now, at this point, 2025, people have, for the most part, been working. They worked through the bubble of 2008, COVID, like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many things there. So 42% said work related stress made sleeping difficult. Yep.
Yep.
36% said their personal relationships had recently suffered because of stress experience at work. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So let's talk
Happens,
about
sir.
it here. When your job starts consistently affecting your sleep, relationship, or happiness, is that the point where something has to change?
Yeah, I bet that that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to leave the job. You may have to
Exactly.
change your approach. You may
Yes.
have to change how you may have to if your boss emails you over the weekend, you may have to just say, "Hey, I'm waiting until Monday to respond. I'm not going to
Yes.
look until if your boss sends you a text, unless it's like truly an emergency,
Yeah.
like that somebody's really depending on it,
Easy.
or whatever. You can say, hey, ignore the text, wait until Monday,
Yeah.
or whatever.
To an extent, though, because I
Go
think
ahead.
real quick, it depends on what culture has already been established. You can't go from the
Yes,
person
yes.
who is 24/7 and then all of a sudden go radio silent without saying, "Hey,
Well,
um,
yes, you do need to put that out there. Yes,
you need to level set. Like, hey, you know what?
yes,
I'll get back to you on Monday. You got to respond because if you always responded and now you don't,
yeah,
no doubt they don't have any
yes,
ground to really say anything. But come Monday, they're going to be like, hey, what happened? You've always been responsive. All of a
yeah,
sudden you didn't, because you could say, hey, I'm tied up. I'm away this weekend with the family, unable to help out. I will respond first thing Monday morning. Thanks a lot. Blah, blah,
yep.
blah. You know what I mean?
Have an automatic response set
Oh,
up.
heck yeah. Now the flip side of it is if you don't, 5 o'clock, you stop and that's the boundary you established, then yeah,
Yeah,
like, nope, you don't need to respond. You know what I mean? So it all depends, of course.
yep, yep,
But it's exactly what you said. It doesn't have to be the job. It could be your attitude, right? What's that?
your
What
approach.
is it? Life is 10% action and 90% reaction, right? So just like I said about the person with the money, you could have money problems and still be lighthearted, happy, good, go. Like, there's allegedly it's a Chinese proverb where like there's a farmer that's like, oh, you got all this cattle, you're so lucky. And he's like, maybe. And then the next week he's like, oh my God, you lost all your cattle. You're so not lucky. Maybe. It's just how you
Yeah,
approach it that determines anything. And it's such a important topic, right? Because there is no
yeah,
right or wrong. It all depends. But take
yes.
take us take us out here.
Every everyone's situation is different, right? So I'm gonna ask you this question: are wellness programs at work a are a real benefit, or are they just a corporate band-aid? So let me give you an example there. I'll give you
Yeah,
like
it depends
some
again,
jobs.
right?
Some jobs offer like the meditation apps. They give that employee appreciation pizza or meal. They might have it give you a gym membership. Additional PTO, flexible remote work, financial wellness, education, mental health or EAP resources, 4-day work weeks, better pay, and no email after hours policy.
Like, all those things together would be amazing, but that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Companies will take one thing and be like,
Pick and
oh,
choose.
right, they're gonna pick and choose and do it like that. It's so much culture. I just spoke to someone recently
Yes.
about the value of payroll and whether leadership valued the function. And the
Yep.
person was honest. They were like, no, they don't. It's going to be an uphill battle.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, thanks for being honest. Like, that's not cool. And unfortunately, that happens more often than not, that companies don't value the function of payroll,
Yep.
right? Or even HR for that matter. Like, startups, they don't even understand what the purpose of HR is. They're like,
We'll figure that
HR,
out later.
yeah, who needs that? So it's tough in that respect. But an HR is the group that would actually make all these things happen and make sure they happen consistently, because it's a people
Yeah.
function, right? It's
Yeah.
valuing the people, and some companies just don't do that. I mean, thank God we're past the bubble of 2008, because right after 2008, companies were on their high horse. Leadership was on their high horse, like, oh, you better be lucky you have a job. And it was like, whoa.
Well, companies just kind of do that now. Actually, with like the economy, I've heard, I personally heard like managers say like, hey, after a layoff, I've heard from other people that they've been told that if you're still here, then we wanted you here. Basically like that after a reduction in force, it's just like,
Yeah,
like
that's tough, man. It's crazy. It really is. My mom had said, me and my mom were talking about like the generations of workforces, right, and things, and I forget what brought it up, but I said, oh, it was like hard work and work ethic, and and I was like, no, you see work ethic with younger people. I said, what younger people have really done though is they've set the stage for not accepting a toxic environment. Right.
Yeah, they will
They've
leave
raised them. Yeah, they
ASAP,
will.
bro.
Well, yes. And they will
They
leave
will.
that
Yep.
environment of, oh, you better be glad you have a job. They're gone the next day. They left. They ghosted you. You don't even know what happened. They even,
Either they will leave or they're going to report it to somebody.
or both.
You go to hear?
And or what is it? What do they call it? Quiet quitting.
Yep,
You
quiet
get
quitting,
a whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, man. Wellness programs. I think it has its place to round this out and close out the show. I think wellness programs definitely have its place. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you just slap anyone in. I think you have to do some type of survey. You have to get to know your workforce. You got to feel like, what is it that they need, right? Because it's going to be different. Like, right, retail is going to need a different wellness program than stockbrokers and doctors and nurses and food. And, everybody needs something different. If I'm 100% remote, what is it that I need as a wellness program? I can't get pizza, right? Maybe it's the mental wellness, right? I mean, I can get pizza. Of course, you could give stipends or stuff like that, so gift, but whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, maybe the wellness is, hey, we're gonna have a paid day of everybody getting together at a location and just team build and kumbaya fellowship, and that's meaningful. You know what I mean? Especially if you have.
We're gonna go to the bar and everybody's gonna get sloshed.
No. Oh my gosh. You made me think of a whole nother story with a lawyer. We had an in-house lawyer, but I'm not gonna get into it. But it's something that we always said, right? Like, that's one of our visions for building our company is like, hey, we're gonna stay 100% remote, and the money we save quarterly, we should all fly into one place and have a great week of team building and fellowship, a community.
Yep.
But not everybody thinks that way. There's people, there's still leaders who don't believe in remote work.
Yes,
unfortunately.
absolutely. They're like,
Yeah.
get your butt back in the office.
Yeah.
Pay for this building that I paid millions.
That's their business.
For.
That's their business. Like, you should save that money, right? Because some functions, why are you still paying for a building? You could be 100% remote. You could save millions of dollars, but that's a argument for a different show. Let's do a little this or that. Yes, sir.
All right, man. So I'm just gonna go through them all. We're both gonna answer.
Good.
All right. So, number one, would you prefer a 4-day work week or permanent remote work?
Both.
Yeah, let me
Both is an answer.
That's a dope answer.
Right.
All right. So, would you prefer? What would you prefer after a horrible day? Comfort food or a workout?
We'll go with both again.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which would be the best mental reset for you? A beach vacation, or a 3 days home doing absolutely nothing?
Okay, not a both there. That's a tough one. Being that I'm in a vacation state, I can say 3 days at home, and I'm gonna go to the beach one of those days because the ocean is cleansing and spiritual for me. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3 days at home. What about you?
Beach vacation.
Beach vacation, no doubt, because you far from the beach.
Yeah, I'm too far from the beach, man. 4 hours.
So that good.
All right. Employer benefit. Better employer benefit. 5 additional PTO days or 2,500 annual wellness stipend.
It would take the 5. Oh, both. Both.
Yes, both. All right. So which is better after work for you? Put your phone on do not disturb or you turn your phone completely off?
That's a depends for me. I have kids, so I can't turn my phone off or on do not neither. I have to do with that one.
Let's just say in regards to work.
Or if you have like a work phone.
Work. Let's just say in regards to work.
If there's a magic button to just okay, being that we're in payroll, bro, it would depend on whether there's if it's like payday or something. You know what I mean? Like, well, if it's after work, I'm not solving anything until tomorrow morning anyway. Like even if I process the payroll after 5, you're not getting it till tomorrow anyway.
It's not gonna post. It's not gonna. Or if it's over the weekend,
at best. Right.
Yeah,
oh gosh, if it's Friday night, Tuesday, you may not get it till Monday anyway. You know, and this is the great reason of like why we need to figure out how to do corporate business, Cash App, Venmo type deal. But I think it depends on that one. Be responsible to our customers, because if it's a situation where I can help somebody out on the payroll wise and I can, then I'm going to answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna say neither. Like after work, like I'm not gonna turn. If it's not a fire,
right,
I'll respond on Monday. If it is, I'll go ahead and take care of it.
There you go.
So not it for me. Number 6, you have 1 hour to yourself. Are you gonna take a nap or do something fun?
I mean, when is this hour? In the middle of the day or
any time, bro? You got an hour for yourself by yourself. No responsibilities. No kids, no nothing. It's just Brian and Brian alone. What you gonna do? Would you rather take a nap or do something fun?
I mean, I'm gonna say do something fun because that could be a nap. It's I'm not really a nap person, so I'm gonna say do something fun. But I think that covers the basis for all of what about you?
I'm gonna say both.
Both.
I can take a nap, a power nap for 30 minutes and eat some ice cream.
No doubt. I like that. No doubt.
So your boss texts you a question while you're on vacation. What are you going to do? You're going to answer quick question, or is your phone something not going to have reception?
Again, being that we're payroll, it depends on what that's about.
Yeah. All right. So for your overall wellness, last one, what would be more important to you? More money with significantly more stress, or less money with much less stress?
I mean, neither. Yeah,
more
neither.
money with less stress.
Yeah, like, it's like no way. I mean, and hey, AI is a reality right now, so you should be more money and less stress. Like we should be dishing off AI into the things that can be repeated. So yeah, no doubt.
Yes, sir. All right, close us out with this quote, man, and
wrap it up. Yeah. You can't do a good job if your job is all you do. Katie terms. That is true, man. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second, because wellness isn't about pretending that work doesn't matter. Work matters, careers matter, success matters, and paychecks definitely matter, but so do the people earning them. And that's why it's about payroll. All roads lead to payroll, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, everybody.
All right, y'all.
We love you. Like, subscribe, share, comment, engage. We put out
Tell a
there
friend,
like
tell a friend.
all kind of things. Yeah. So tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
And until the next time, yo. Peace.
Get the book.
Get the
Peace.
book.